Well, this is going to be great.
Welcome to the White House Pod. With David A.R.
I am, thanks guys for coming back. I'm so excited for our guest today. This guy, I actually haven't seen him in a while. It's been a few years.
Is that intentional?
No, it's not intentional by any means. Are you kidding me? Well, let's just, this guy has done so much in the course of his career, and he still looks unbelievable. He still looks like he just got here, like absolutely perfect. And
you're making me blush.
Well, it's good to have Jesse Metcalfe in the studio with us today. Thank you so much for being back here.
I really admire you, dude. You've accomplished so much in the industry. You really get it done, and I loved working with you on God It's Not Dead too. I thought that film just came out incredibly, and I was really, honestly, very proud to be a part of it. So thanks for having me today.
You were wonderful, man.
Thank you.
That movie. In fact, yesterday I was just doing this thing. We have the big God's Not Dead 2 thing in our office. I don't know, some banner that takes up practically about this wall. And it's there every single day, even though we've done, we're getting ready to do our 5th installment of it, actually.
So I heard. I had a little discussion in your lobby before we came in here to shoot the podcast, and I'm excited for you guys. I hear you're bringing back some old characters.
Yep.
Who knows? Maybe Tom Endler might make an appearance.
I know. We're finally getting the God's Not Dead world it's
vast.
It is vast. It's ever evolving, and it is. Dean is just finally coming back from the first one.
Wow, jeez, that took a while. Okay, I'll get back to you in like another 5 years then.
Dean and Corey are finally just coming back from the first one. It's very funny. All right, so you're from Connecticut.
Yeah.
Originally, and then you moved. Okay, so you grew up in Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
You're an only child.
Yeah.
Do we know when we're growing up that we're going to be a superstar?
Absolutely not in my case.
Okay.
I couldn't have been a more insecure adolescent. So I definitely did not know that I was going to be any type of quote-unquote star or part of the entertainment industry.
Were you an entertainer, though, from an early age?
No, I wasn't an entertainer. I was very creative. Back when I was an adolescent and a teenager, I was very into drawing and painting. I played a couple of different musical instruments.
What'd you play?
I played the piano, then I played the clarinet, then I started playing the guitar.
Wow.
And
Who goes from I've never even heard of anybody going from the piano to the clarinet.
Well, when you play clarinet, you got to go to something.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to keep playing clarinet.
Stop at the clarinet.
Yeah, because that's just like, you don't get any girls when you play clarinet. I also
Has he played the clarinet for you?
I don't know who you're referring to in this room that I could be playing clarinet for, but that is a very interesting question.
We did bring a clarinet for you today. Did you
bring a reed? Did you bring a reed? Yeah, the clarinet it's a very gross instrument. You need a lot of like saliva, to play the clarinet.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on. All right. I also sang in the chorus, so I was always somewhat musically inclined, but I was always very reluctant to act. I went to a performing arts prep school in New London, Connecticut, that was on Connecticut College campus. That was, very prestigious.
How old were you when you went?
I went as a freshman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they had college. But no, in high school.
For high school.
High school, and they had 7th and 8th grade in this high school as well. So it was 7th grade to 12th grade, but it was on a college campus.
Okay.
So it was a really cool experience. And the performing arts, teacher there always wanted me to audition for the plays, but I was too scared. I was too insecure. Wow. It was like, it was just, I wasn't ready for that. Yeah.
So at what point in time did we get
ready?
Well, yeah.
Okay,
because
this is what happened.
Because obviously you went into modeling.
Yes, I went to a model search in Hartford, Connecticut, got selected by a couple agencies, went to New York City, got signed by a now defunct modeling agency called Zoli. Okay, had some success. I used to take the train into Manhattan.
They didn't pick me up, by the way. I went in there and they just got no go.
So sorry, David. You know, you can't win them all.
Zolo.
So anyway, I used to take the train into Manhattan to do like shoots for 17 magazine, YM, these little like
While
modeling
you're in
jobs.
high school,
while
or
I was in high school.
High school.
While I was in
Wow.
high school. Okay, now while I was in high school, I was kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. You know, I was, like I had mentioned, I was an only child. And, you know, I was a little bit of a loner. I was a little lost. You know, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew that I loved film and television, specifically movies. You know, I loved the escapism of watching a movie. My dad took me to see The Breakfast Club in the theaters when I was, I don't know, 7 years old. And it had a profound effect on me. You know, it moved me emotionally.
Were either of your parents in the entertainment industry?
No. Both of my parents were very blue collar, not in the entertainment. No nepotism here. But, you know.
Were they models? They must have been models, right?
No, I don't know how they made me, actually. It's pretty great. No, I'm just kidding. So that's what really piqued my interest in storytelling. So I kind of like got this crazy idea that I was going to go to New York University Tisch School of the Arts and study film. Well, I didn't get into the Tisch School of the Arts, but I did get into this random program called Gallatin, where all the weird kids got an opportunity to go to NYU. No, I'm just kidding. That's kind of mean. So I got into this Gallatin program. I did a semester, and then I transferred into Tisch.
Yeah.
And that sort of piqued my interest in acting because you had to take a couple acting classes as part of the film and television major. So that's where it all started.
How old are you when you take your first acting class?
17.
Okay.
That's when I started
like
college.
right away.
Right away. Yeah.
And are we good at it as soon as you
No.
step on stage, or is it like
No, I don't think we're
nervous?
good at it as soon
Or
as
you
we
just
step on
like
stage.
this, or is it like
Well, you know, when you've never acted before, it really all starts with a lot of exercises as opposed to like going straight into scene study.
Yeah.
And I remember there was one professor, his name was Seth Glassman, and he did this exercise where you basically walked around a chair, imagined the person in that chair, and just kind of free flowed and said kind of whatever came out of you emotionally.
Okay.
And I had my first experience where I was able to tap into some emotion, you know, and sort of, you know, be in the moment, as they say. And that was what would first piqued my interest in acting.
Okay, so you go through college then. What is your first professional job as an actor?
Okay, well, I asked...
Was it in college or?
It was, because I dropped out of college.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and
you're
never
technically still...
and never went back.
Yeah.
So I asked my modeling agency to set me up with a theatrical agent. They sent me out on a UPS commercial audition where I took it upon myself to dress as though I was a UPS delivery man. But that wasn't the role. I was receiving the package. I wasn't delivering it. So needless to say, I didn't get that one.
Did you have the shorts? Did you do the
I had
shorts
the whole
with
nine. I had
UPS?
the shorts. I had the boots. I had the, you know, I was...
I actually did that on my first McDonald's commercial.
Right.
I was 19 and I just moved out here, and I went and I bought McDonald's, you know, thinking that that's what I was supposed
Right.
to do.
You had to have the bag or something.
And then I
prop.
turned out to be the guy, you know, behind the thing saying,
Right.
"Hi, may I take
Okay.
your order?" I didn't
Right.
need to get the bag.
So yeah, we make these mistakes early on. But anyway, then I went to an open casting call for, you know, this zany daytime soap opera called Passions, where they did a countrywide, you know, cast for a lot of these characters. And I ended up getting the opportunity to fly to LA, do a screen
Is
test.
this your second audition ever?
Second audition ever.
Wow.
Yeah. So they flew me out to LA for a screen test, which was super nerve-wracking, super exciting. And then I flew back to my dorm, you know, in Manhattan.
You're
I flew
like
back.
18 or
I
you're
went
like
back. I went
18?
back to college. I was 19 at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Los Angeles?
Never.
Okay, so
Never.
it's like, so what happens when they fly you out to Los Angeles? Does a car pick you up?
Car picked me up. They put me up at one of the hotels on like the Universal lot. I don't remember exactly which one.
So they don't lose you, basically.
They keep a close eye on you, thankfully. Yeah, thankfully.
And then they make sure. How do they make sure you get back on the plane? Do they
That's a
walk
great
you to
question.
the,
Yeah, no, I was happy to get back on the plane. I wasn't ready for, you know, everything that was in store. And I had to get back to college. I had like classes to get to, you know. But it wasn't. It was either the next day or 2 days later when I got a call. You know, there wasn't even cell phones back then.
Right.
You know, I got a call on the hard line in my dorm room from the casting director, and she was very cagey and aloof, you know, and she was like, "We might need you to come back to L.A." And I was like, "Well, I can't come back to L.A. I'm in college. Like, what are you talking about?" She's, "I'm gonna have to call you back," she says to me. I go, "Okay, well, yeah, please do call me back." And then a producer from the show calls me back and says, "We want to hire you, you know, and we want you in Los Angeles in like 3 days."
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So do you just drop out of college? Like,
I was able to finish my.
Call your parents or something, or how? Does anybody give you advice here?
I mean, I've definitely called my parents. They were like, "Go for it," you know. I was obviously going to go for it.
Yeah.
I got in touch with my professors. My professors allowed me to take my finals a bit early so I could finish my junior year in hopes of actually, you know, getting back to school and finishing my senior year and actually having a degree after I spent $100,000 on college. You know, that never happened. You know, and sort of the rest is history, man. I never left L.A.
All right, so we come out here. We were on Passions. How many years were you on Passions?
5 years.
And Passions lasted. How long did Passions last?
I think it lasted a bit longer than that. I can't tell you exactly. It might have lasted 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
You go from Passions then, and how was it? Did you memorize lines really, really good when you first started?
I didn't know what I was doing when I first started. I mean, I was a bad actor. Yeah. I mean, but I was determined. I was determined to learn the craft of acting. I did put in the work. It was 30 pages, 20 to 30 pages a day of dialogue.
Did it start that way for you? Like,
yes.
Oh wow! So
yes.
like right off the bat, it was like.
I mean,
boom,
it was a big ensemble cast.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe it wasn't quite that heavy at the beginning, but it certainly got heavy as.
Yeah.
You know, my character and my storyline grew.
Yeah.
People seem to respond to it. Yeah.
All right. So how now? You're a young kid. You're in your early 20s, and the celebrity, the fame thing hits you. How hard is that? Did you handle it well, or did you have really good support group?
When you're in daytime, you're not really famous. So, you know, I mean, you feel important, but you're not quite there yet.
But you have a lot of people watching you every single day.
You have a lot of people watching you, but you're not really on the radar of, you know, mainstream entertainment.
Okay.
So,
but you're in the tabloids. You're in all the soap tabloids, aren't you?
Yeah, the soap tabloids.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, the first 5 years was smooth sailing. It was a great training ground. I think things got a little maybe more complicated, you know, after Desperate Housewives broke.
Yeah. How old were you when the Desperate Housewives came knocking on your door?
24, 25.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now, were you still on Passions at the time? Did you have to leave Passions to go there?
I had to leave Passions. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, you're leaving! What are you going to do? Are you crazy?" And I was like, "Oh man, I'm going to go for it."
So you had not got the Desperate Housewives at the time. Okay.
I actually had done a couple things on my way out from Passions. I did 44 minutes, a shootout in North Hollywood, which is based on a true story.
That's the actual shootout that happened there.
Exactly.
I lived there. I lived literally around the block from there.
It was crazy. Yeah. Crazy. So they did a TV movie.
Wow.
Had a tiny part, and then I also did a guest star.
You weren't one of the bad guys, were you?
No. Look at this face. Come on, man. No, I was a cop. I was a good guy.
A really good-looking cop. Saving the day, or at least helping somebody.
I helped somebody. You know, I had like 3 lines. And then I did a guest star on the show Smallville, which was kind of a bigger opportunity for me. They had a different villain. I was a villain in that case. They had a different villain every episode. They ended up bringing me back for an extra episode. Worked with some cool guys. That was a great experience. But yeah, no, then I took the leap, you know, and I did a full pilot season. And actually, I didn't get like even close on anything towards the end of my first pilot season. And I had the opportunity to test for 2 shows at the end of pilot season, Veronica Mars, or, you know, this show called Desperate Housewives. And there was something contractually where basically, like, they were really interested in me for Desperate Housewives, but if I tested for Veronica Mars, then I couldn't test for DH.
Wow.
So I chose DH and, got that job. Yeah.
How was that going on there? Because Desperate Housewives had already been on, hadn't it, for a little while?
Nope. It hadn't been on, but they had shot the pilot, and my character was actually a recast.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
Wow. Yeah. How was that for you? Did you have any idea about the other guy?
Not really. Not until after the fact.
Did you care?
Nor did I care. It was after the fact, and I didn't care. I was just so thrilled to have gotten the job.
Do we have any idea who that was at this
We
point
would never throw that name out there, on the podcast, because that just wouldn't be
not to say that we're going to throw the name out, but I'm just curious, do you know who that is?
I know exactly who it is,
okay.
Actually.
And have you ever had a conversation with him?
I think there was. No. I've never personally had a conversation, but I heard that
Well, you hear about that classic story about Back to the Future with Michael J. Fox replaced what's the guy's name? Eric Stoltz, the redhead guy.
This is my mind is blown. I didn't even know this.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Oh.
Eric Stoltz was
Jew-
originally the lead of Back to the Future.
Yes, and he did like 2 or 3 weeks of shooting before Spielberg, right? No, Zemeckis. Basically came and said, "We're not feeling it. You don't have that thing, and it's not. This isn't going to work for you." And then they bring in Michael J. But I'm wondering, if Michael J. Fox has ever talked to Eric Stoltz about it, because that's like common knowledge. No offense.
Yeah, no.
I mean, it's just it's a lot out there.
Yeah.
If you, I was a big fan of those movies.
I was a huge fan of those movies.
But I'm curious if you've ever run into that guy.
I've never run into the guy.
Did you ever have dreams about that, or did you ever
I've never dreamt of the guy. I've never run into the guy.
What if is the guy going to be
Luckily, he hasn't sought me out, and
he's not a stalker of some sort. Going, wow, that could have been me. I could have been Jesse Metcalfe, but instead I'm this other guy that we don't talk about on the podcast because we're afraid to. You know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I know exactly what you're saying.
And for the record, Eric Stoltz is a wonderful actor.
Are you kidding me? He's amazing.
Yeah, he's amazing, and he had an amazing career. So my point is the other Desperate Housewife guy maybe had the same. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
We'll have to.
We'll never know.
Somebody will know.
Yeah,
somebody
will
know.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Desperate Housewives. How long are we on that for?
Well, I was only a series regular for the first season.
Okay.
It was kind of
because that show is gone. It went how many years? 7, 8?
No, I think
10?
it went 9 seasons. Yeah,
And
I mean,
then movies
very
too,
successful show, very iconic show. It was sort of.
Tell us about your deep character that you played in this thing. Like what?
I had actually a pretty cool character. I mean, on the surface, it might not have seemed that deep, because I was basically a teenage boy who was, the gardener of Eva Longoria's character who started having an affair with her. But I guess the depth of the character maybe comes in, in the fact that he deeply fell in love with her, So, I mean, there were real emotions at play there. But I wouldn't say it was the most challenging character in the world to play. But it sure was fun.
All right. So at the end of the first season, did you know that it was done for you, or did you?
Well, no. I mean, I'm not to be dramatic, not to be like a victim, because I'm anything but. But I mean, but
your career keeps going on, so it's anything but.
To many people's dismay, I'm still here. Anyway, it was an amazing first season, an amazing experience.
It's got to be one of the top 10, top shows.
It's one of the top shows ever made.
Yeah,
I think it's one of the top shows ever made.
And season though, that must have splashed.
That season splashed
huge.
So hard. Eva Longoria and I had incredible chemistry. That was easily the most popular storyline on the show.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, at the end of season 1,
she had to break up.
Well, no, I got my people got a call from the very talented Mark Cherry, and said they wanted to take a meeting with me, and I come into the meeting, and then they basically after a mega successful first season, they basically fired me. you know, and said, but hey, we're going to bring you back like a couple times over the next 9 years, you know, and I was cool with it because I had gotten my first movie, you know, and I felt like I had maybe gotten what I needed from the opportunity, you know, it's sort of...
And you're still super young, too,
yeah,
right?
Really
you're in
exactly,
your 20s at
exactly.
the time. So,
you know, so it wasn't like... It didn't hit me that hard, but I mean, in retrospect, yeah, you know, it kind of sucked, you know, because obviously I wanted to continue on this mega hit show as a series regular.
How? By the way, I got fired off of Evening Shade. This was a little bit before your thing, but when I moved here, I was 19. Burt Reynolds took a liking to me in the way that he gave me a recurring character on the show for 3.5 years.
Sweet.
But then I got fired by Burt himself.
Not sweet.
That's a whole other topic. Because but I know the feeling of at least, you know, now granted it wasn't to the extent of yours, but the extent of the, you know, it's a transition,
right,
so to speak.
Right.
And you think because I was in my early 20s, to say, you think that, whatever, it doesn't really matter. I'm not even going to really care. Yeah. You know, but in retrospect, you kind of think back and you're like, oh, that was an unbelievable moment of my life. Absolutely. That would have been nice to just last a little bit longer. Well, and ironically, Burt Reynolds felt the same thing at the end of his...
Did he really?
I worked, I got the joy of hiring him a year before he passed. And he said Evening Shade was one of his favorite things. And his biggest regret was that he only got to do it 4 years because he got into a thing with the Bloodworth Thomasons, the creators of it. So
that can happen.
Anyway. Yeah. I digress.
Yes. I mean, the thing about this business is that the hits just keep on coming. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's like, you're a lot more oblivious and maybe a little bit more resilient. I don't know. I'd like to think I'm more resilient now, less oblivious. But yeah, you don't really think it matters as much, you know, when you're young. But as you get older, you know, and similar things kind of continue to happen within your career, within the industry, you know, because nothing is set in stone in this business, you know, unless like the ink is on the paper, and even then. So, you know, you got to be very malleable, you know.
It's I think it's also a little bit of role. A lot of people, you know, run from the thing that, you know, separates them in a lot of ways and to only come back to it later to go, oh wow, yeah, that thing made me iconic and stuck out so much, and they're running to other things to think I can do like 9 other things. I remember after God's Not Dead, we had people tell us, hey, by the way, you know, this is a big deal in your life. Like, not every single movie you do is going to be a massive hit to that level, you know, and change your life in such a way. Mm-hmm. And you're like, I'm going to do 13 more of them, you know, and then
and you just might.
Yeah, and you might, but you just might. But at the same token, don't what they were saying is try to experience the moment of it and really enjoy the process without always getting ahead of ourselves to go run to the next thing. Anyway, Dallas.
Advice.
Let's talk about Dallas. Okay, so then you go on to Dallas. How much longer after Desperate Housewives? So what was your next step?
Well, my next a lot of failed independent movies was my next step. Yeah. But after that, I got hired on a series called Chase. That only lasted a season.
I liked that show, actually.
Oh, you did? Thank you.
Yeah, I watched that show.
You.
I don't even know where it went.
Yeah.
After a year, because I was a massive fan of that show.
It was a really cool cast. It was about U.S. Marshals chasing down a different fugitive.
The girl on there was really
good
good too. The lead girl.
She ended up having an insane career on procedural dramas. I mean, insane. You know, and I moved to another procedural. I mean, I don't remember which one exactly, but she was on it for a very long time. So she had a great career. Kelly Giddish.
That's it.
Cole Hauser was also on the show.
Yeah.
He's a powerhouse. He's a powerhouse actor. He's a great actor. Amaury Nolasco, he's also a pretty solid actor. So, I mean...
Jesse Metcalfe, a powerhouse actor.
He was all right. But, yeah, so I did a season of that, and then coming straight off that show, I got the opportunity to audition for Dallas. And, you know, maybe of all the auditions I've ever given, that's probably the best audition I've ever given, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
What was the difference?
Well, I mean, I just wept in the audition. I just absolutely knocked it out of the park. They were like, "You're hired." They called the next day and were like, "You're hired." It's Christopher Ewing.
How long were we on Dallas for? Well,
it only went 3 seasons, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was the reboot of the original Dallas that Roger watched.
With Larry Hagman, with Patrick Duffy, with Linda Gray.
Some of them came back, though, didn't they?
They did. Some of them came back for guest appearances, yeah.
How, okay, so, the amount of shows that you've gone on to, what's your favorite? Do you enjoy the TV shows or the movies? Like, how do you I
enjoy working.
Yeah. But you work all the time.
I do, but I like to constantly be working. I mean, I don't know if that's an actor thing. I don't know if that's a male thing.
It's an actor thing. But how long can you go between jobs without the brain starting to click on and going?
Not long.
Like, is it a week? Is it
no, a few months.
Like a couple months?
Few months, yeah.
I've heard it's always like the thing that you did before. It's kind of how big that thing was that kind of gets the
it's
timeline.
Inversely proportional.
Yeah. That's hilarious. How many movies have you done? You've done a tremendous. Have we hit 100?
I have no idea how many movies I've done. I've never counted.
Yeah, has other people count? I'm sure other people count.
I don't know. I don't go on IMDb.
You don't look at.
I don't look at my star meter.
Media, not your star media, but
your
your social media people writing in all day long.
I'm pretty proud of the last movie that I've had come out.
Well, let's talk about that one. The Wing and the Prayer one, right?
On a Wing and a Prayer, yeah.
Which is on Amazon.
Yeah.
It was like
Prime Video.
How many?
It was number one. It was number one for 2.5 weeks.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, thank you.
With Dennis Quaid and Heather Graham.
Exactly.
And you're the star.
I don't know about that.
How did they feel playing?
I absolutely loved my role.
Yeah. What about that movie did you love? What attracted you to that script? Did you know they were attached as well?
I knew they were attached, but I think it's more about the script. You know, it was based on a true story. I thought the script was really well executed. I played this guy by the name of Kerry Sorensen, who, the storyline is basically Dennis Quaid's character has to land a plane with no flight experience after the pilot dies of a heart attack in order to save himself and his family. Nobody in the control tower knows anything about landing this particular plane. My character happens to be an expert in this plane and is able to talk him down so that everybody survives. The caveat is that my character has like major baggage because both his father and his stepfather died of plane crashes.
Oh, wow.
And he also is like...
They put you in the tower.
They never put me in the tower. It's actually, I'm actually only in one set the entire movie. I had never met Dennis Quaid or I had met Heather Graham, previously, but I'd never met Dennis until after we shot the movie, and I'm talking to him the entire movie. So, I played the entire movie to the second AD.
Did they shoot your scenes? Did they separate you at all or you're always together?
No, we were completely separated. We were never together.
No, I know, but I mean, like you're talking to him though, acting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm talking to him on the phone.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like in Die Hard, for example, Reginald Vell Johnson, when I was talking to him, he was saying that Bruce Willis never was on the phone with him at all.
Oh, yeah.
He talks to Bruce Willis the whole time.
Of course.
Die Hard, right?
Yeah. No, Dennis was never on the phone with me.
Right.
I mean, this is what we do. We're actors. We create a reality.
You got to hang out with Dennis, though, for a little while.
Well, no, I mean, I did a couple interviews with Dennis. I don't know the man. He seems great, but
I did get to know him in the movie quite well. I helped him land a plane.
Yeah, I saved his life, but I've only really actually met him once.
That's hilarious. All right, so how does it? That trends on Amazon. How do your people just all of a sudden start getting calls off the shelf because of trending on one of the biggest platforms in the world?
You know what's strange is that is
a paparazzi following you now super close.
No. But one of the head publicity people from Amazon Prime Video, who basically took Heather and I, through New York, doing all the biggest, PR opportunities. I mean, really, the PR campaign behind this movie was insane. Dennis
to go to number one.
Yeah, exactly. Dennis, Heather, and I were all on Live with Kelly and Ryan separately. Mm-hmm. So to get that kind of press for a movie is pretty unbelievable. But I was told by one of the top PR agents for for the studio that the movie the numbers were through the roof.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's probably one of the main reasons why we're in a writer's strike right now, is people try to keep these statistics very secretive. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like now that we don't have to deal with Nielsen ratings, and we're dealing with streams, it seems as though a lot of the studios try to act like they have no idea how many streams there have been for this movie. So, but I did.
Well, yeah, because you got to pay people more. With
then you got to pay people more.
No, we know it well over at Flix.
Yeah.
It's a tricky business. And then, Netflix has been struggling with that for years, given the fact that 175 million subscribers.
Right.
I mean. And
insane.
Amazon's about the same.
Totally.
It's almost like the exposure of that of a movie like that though is almost more than than a theatrical movie in a lot of ways.
Exactly. In a lot of ways.
It's just
totally. That's why they do the releases simultaneously sometimes now in theaters, and you can also stream at the same time in your home. If you want the theater experience, go to the theaters. But yeah, I mean, the theater experience is kind of dying.
I have to show you something here. I have this in my house. I'm assuming I haven't seen this movie in quite a while. One of the Resident Evils. Weren't you in that?
No.
You were never in the Resident Evil?
No, sir.
See, but look at this guy here. Look at that guy. Up here.
Here, let me tell you who the guy is.
Look at that guy.
My gosh, he looks just like me.
He seriously looks just like you. I have this kind of cool thing, right?
That's
from
super
the Resident
cool.
Evil.
Super cool.
But this guy, I'm always like, hello, Jesse.
Oh, wow.
I literally thought
I
that
wish
was
it was
you.
me, but no, that's not me.
Wow, that's amazing.
me.
Well, that guy...
Love Mila Jovovich, so I would have loved the
she's
opportunity
terrific.
to work with her.
You did?
Yeah. No, I would have loved the opportunity to work with her.
Well,
Yeah, absolutely.
They're going to reboot, and Mila needs to come back to do the Resident Evils, because we would like to see a little bit more of these.
Yeah, for
All right, so... where do you go from here, though? Because you have peaked. Peaked is the wrong word. You have done so much. You're a superstar in television. I don't say I have a terrible filter here. Things are, no, but you have done so much in television. You've done so much in the movie industry, in the modeling industry. We didn't even touch on everything there.
Not much to touch on.
Yeah. Okay. So. But I mean, like, where does Jesse Metcalfe, like, what is it? Is it the scripts? Are you writing now? Are you producing now?
I am producing. Yeah, I am producing. I just produced a film that I also starred in called The Comic Shop.
The Comic Shop.
The Comic Shop.
What is it about?
It's about a disgruntled comic book shop owner who's also an alcoholic because his dreams didn't come true.
Okay.
And he meets a young comic book enthusiast who's also an illustrator. My character wanted to be an illustrator. And it reignites his passion for illustrating, and he ends up making it big as a comic book illustrator, a la Stan Lee.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you made this?
We made the movie.
Made the movie.
We made the
Where
movie.
is it being distributed? Where can
It's
people...
not done yet.
Okay.
Yep, it's not done yet. We shot it in Las Vegas. It was an incredible experience. I partnered with That's Hollywood Entertainment, Scott Reed and Ron Singer. We had a great rapport. I think the movie's going to be quite good.
Is this your first one that you've produced?
No, I've had.
Did you write this as well?
No, I didn't write it.
Okay.
No. I've also had a lot of other, I guess I'd call them vanity credits, really. As a producer, I definitely want to produce more.
Nice.
That's the direction I want to go. Yeah.
And what do you like about producing?
Being in control, of course.
We have a problem with the control aspect in your life?
I don't know.
I mean, it's a lot of work, obviously, given the fact of we've done a few.
I think the most work is directing.
I would agree with that.
Directing,
have you directed before?
I have never directed,
Yeah.
but I have definitely empathized with many directors that I have worked with. It's really It's 24/7 until the movie's done.
Yeah.
24/7. You know, it's super stressful. You got to deal with a lot of different personalities. It's tough.
I
It's
did.
tough.
I did 6 of them,
Yeah.
and I have no interest in ever directing again.
There you go.
It was
Yeah.
it is the when people are like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, you're like,
No.
yeah, no.
People say that to me too.
And writing though, writing is right up there with directing.
Super
It's, to
tough,
me-
but that's a totally different thing. You know,
Yeah.
you got to be like a recluse. You know,
Exactly.
and be by yourself all the time, like, you know, for hours. You know, I mean, that's not really my jam either.
Clearly, it is not your jam. All right, so what kind of stuff do you want to produce?
Wow, that's a great question. It's
what do you like
It's
more?
It's pretty broad. I think that my favorite genre are mobster movies. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I like gangster films.
What's
and
your favorite gangster movie?
I mean, The Godfather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see The Making of The Godfather?
I love it.
That was
It's
a pretty cool
incredible.
show.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. On
The show,
on
I
Hulu.
forget- yeah.
On Hulu.
It wasn't on Hulu. It was on Prime, I think. It might have been through Hulu. I don't know.
The Offer. That was
Yeah,
a really good
I know.
show.
It was so fun.
really well done.
I actually didn't know all. Obviously, who did know? Obviously, they made a very good
Yeah.
TV show, so
Right.
they could tell people about the making of The
Sure.
Godfather.
Sure. And how difficult it was.
Is The Godfather 1 your favorite?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
Do you like Goodfellas or
I like
Casino?
Godfather too, obviously. Casino, yeah, Goodfellas, King of New York.
You want to make a mob movie, huh?
I do.
Interesting.
Yeah, I do.
That's
I
cool.
do, and I have pretty incredible idea too. You know,
How long
but-
did you live in New York?
Well, I'm from Connecticut,
Right.
you know, but I only really lived in New York while I was in college, and I actually own an apartment in New York in the Lower East Side that I haven't lived in a very long time.
Wow.
Pre COVID, I leased it out, and I've been back and forth in New York. But I mean, as far as living, you know, in New York, that's not something I really want to do, and it's not something many people want to do. You know, post pandemic, I think people want to be around trees and nature a lot more. I
Come
don't
to
think
Los
people
Angeles.
can really deal with the density of a city like that.
How
I think it freaks people out.
have you rented your apartment out for the last 3 years?
I've had at least that for the last 3 years.
and the same tenant, or
two different tenants.
okay.
Yeah.
How is that being? Are you the landlord, or do you got people doing that for you?
I mean, I got people doing that for me.
He's like, look at me for crying out loud. Do you honestly think that I'm fixing the sink?
Dude, you are too funny, man. You're really setting me up here.
Of course not. Okay, so so you just moved back to Los Angeles, though.
I did.
Okay,
Yes.
from
Basically Connecticut and New York.
okay.
Yeah.
How long were you there in Connecticut and New York then, living there?
A year.
You just went. Did you take
Little
a break from
over
Los
a
Angeles
year.
and go back there?
I took well, first I moved to Miami.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like Miami.
I moved to Miami the end of 2021, but I sold my place in July of 2022 because the real estate market just like went
So-
bonkers. Yeah.
Yeah. Where were you in the pandemic? Did you live in Miami?
I was in LA.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Miami was
Sequestered.
the place to be.
Yeah. I was visiting Miami. Every
often?
time I went, I got COVID.
Oh, you really? Well, I remember going to Miami actually, and we did a movie in Malta in 2020, and so I was in Miami for Halloween.
Okay.
And all the parties and the clubs were open and
Right.
everything.
It was insane.
Yeah, it was insanity.
Yeah.
And I just remember talking to these models, these two models who were like, "COVID doesn't exist. COVID doesn't exist."
COVID deniers?
They were COVID deniers, but they were like, very either they were incredible actresses or they were really believed
Oh,
that.
they actually believed
I
it.
actually think they were.
They actually believed
They
it.
really believed
Yeah.
it, which was funny. But you would come back and actually get COVID from Miami during
Well,
those times.
I had COVID 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think I got every variant.
Oh, okay.
It was a hat trick. Yeah. I mean, because I didn't really change my
behavior
not all
or
not
your
not-
diet.
Not all that much. I didn't really change my behavior. I wasn't a person that was incredibly fearful of the pandemic. Maybe I should have been, but I consider myself to be someone who's in very good health.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about your workout routine.
So I wasn't too worried.
You're ridiculous fitness.
I mean,
here.
I work out a lot. I'm not in peak physical condition right now. I'm a little closer to dad bod right now, which is fine because I'm 44 years old, man. I don't need to be in peak physical condition all the time.
I hate to
Is that what's expected of me? Please say.
I hate to break it to you, but you really aren't even close to dad bod. Like nowhere, even in the vicinity of.
Why, thank you, David. That's very sweet.
Do you really think anybody's writing out there? Jesse Metcalfe is in dad bod.
Well,
I don't even know that you actually have that in your future.
You don't even think I have that the ability, the propensity to possibly achieve dad bod at some point.
I do not believe that you will ever attain dad bod.
All right. Well, that's a shame.
I hate to break it
because I want it. I want dad bod. I hear it's hot right now.
All right. So when do we work out? We go to the gym. You box, martial arts. What do you do?
All of the above.
Long walks on the beach?
No, I mean when people say like, how do you stay 8% body fat, and they go, oh man, I just really love to hike. That's when they're like full of it. It takes a lot of focus and effort to get in that kind of shape. But I was working out for a very long time at a place called Unbreakable Performance, which is owned by Jay Glazer, who's like an NFL pundit. And then it was like this one-stop shop: personal training, weightlifting, boxing, jiu-jitsu, cryo.
Where is that?
Meal plans.
Is that in Santa Monica or where?
No. It's on Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood, above Pink Taco. Amazing gym. Amazing gym.
Do we go down to Pink Taco afterwards?
Random location.
For the lunch?
Amazing gym. No, I wouldn't recommend that. But I've worked out really all over the place, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your thing? Were you doing the martial arts stuff?
Yeah, I was doing a lot of the martial arts stuff.
Have you done very many action movies?
I've done a ton of action movies, yeah.
I've seen you in action movies.
I've done it. I did 3 with Bruce Willis.
Yeah?
Yep.
What's your
one that I'm really proud of?
What's your favorite action movie that you've done?
Probably Hard Kill, which is the first movie that I did with Bruce Willis, which I thought came out exceptionally well. I mean, obviously,
that thing trended very well too. That was
it trended very
Amazon.
Well. Yeah. It was it was number 1 on Netflix for a while. Yeah, it was number 1 on Netflix for a while. I mean, the thing about a lot of these action movies is that, the shooting schedules are just shorter and shorter. The budgets are smaller and smaller. So it's difficult to make a good movie.
How was Bruce at the time when you were working with him?
I mean...
Did you notice it?
It was a great honor to share the screen with Bruce.
Of course.
But, Bruce, even at that time, was showing signs of, his aphasia diagnosis, yes. Just, to be honest. No,
totally.
I hope that doesn't... me saying that
doesn't
offend anyone.
No, my buddy actually did one of his, if not his last movie with him, Anyway, it's that's the hard thing about our life. Regardless of that, you'll never ever achieve dad bod. At some point in time, we will not be here.
No, I know. Yeah,
and other things,
and our minds deteriorate.
Yeah,
obviously. Yeah.
All right, so out of all of this, what's your favorite? Because we got to wrap it up here.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I could talk to you forever, and I'm looking forward to working with you. I hope you'll do another movie.
Are you
of
kidding
ours
me?
Sometime, someday.
Stop.
Seriously.
Stop, please. That's why I came here. Came here to get a job.
Trending number 1 Amazon man on the planet.
Let's trend, baby.
All right, so seriously though, you love the action, the romance, the what comedy? Like you've done
I
it
just
all.
love to tell
favorite?
compelling stories. And move people. Action's great.
The mobsters?
Look, action's great. Gangster movies are great. But you got to have a lot of character
in there.
Yeah, and some heart for sure. Because that's.
How often do you read scripts?
I read a ton of scripts.
Do you read a script every day?
Every other day.
Every other day.
Yeah.
Like just being sent to you every day.
Sometimes I don't get sometimes I don't get the whole way through the script.
Yeah.
I only get 20, 30 pages in, and
are you doing Hallmark
I might move
movies
on to
these days too?
Another script.
You've done some romance movies too.
I have, yeah. I've enjoyed working with Hallmark as well as GAC.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that I bring a lot to those characters and those stories. There's a lot out there.
Jesse Metcalfe. I mean, seriously, like we did God's Not Dead 2, I think, in like 2016. Literally, you look identical as you did in 2016. You're still really, really ridiculously good looking, and it's really bothersome for us other folks
I'm
who
uncomfortable.
might be able to attend dad bods at some point in our lives, but not this guy. All right, man. Thank you so much for
Thanks,
being here.
David.
I really, really appreciate it.
Same here.
And,
Same here. That was
you're-
fun.
You're really wonderful.
Thank you.
And guys, thanks so much for watching us. Hey, by the way, if you can listen to us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, but you're gonna want to always go to YouTube to see faces like Jesse Metcalfe here, because this is 1 in a million. Or 10, or 1 in 100 million, probably.
At least a one in 100, maybe. I don't know. 1 in 50. I don't know.
All right, guys. Make it a great day. God bless you. Thank you so much for watching.